Welcome back to Incredible Hulk 2008.
So, in the
And now it's
last...
time for a new storyline with a character, another character was supposed to be in the movie, but happened to be cut away, similar to Rick Jones.
The leader? Parasavat.
Some are harder
No,
to see
surprisingly
than
not.
Hulk, but I doubt he's the worst of them.
Okay.
Awkward
Because
pause.
it's time to introduce, if I recall correctly. Oh no, it's not here now. But
Oh, hi,
if it's not
Talbott.
here, it's later in this part. Oh yeah, it's him. Yeah, Major Talbott is here for no reason. He just gets introduced like this, and believe me, his involvement in this game is just that it's a loose cannon.
Well,
It starts
that's...
operating army forces. It starts operating army forces, but later on it becomes too savage that Ross just decides to.
God, that wolf model looks terrible.
Ross just decides to, excommunicate him from the army, and so he decides to go rogue on his own, and then ultimately dies. Yeah, I know that I should be upping up for the surprise or something, but believe me. But on what the plus side is that Talbot's story arc actually gets resolved in this game, unlike most of the others, but it's so anticlimactic at the end of the day.
And
Basically,
also...
it's just a more violent and aggressive version of the army.
Can I just talk about the irony here that Roswin, Talbot, you're too much of a loose cannon, but Blonsky, the actual registered psychopath, no, you can stay.
Oh, totally fine, guys. The thing is that I kind of like the fact that Talbot is, more savvy than Ross, which gives you, potentially situations when, he's being a dick towards you. Yeet!
You bounced him off the ground first like he was a basketball.
But in gameplay-wise, this translates into just more annoyance. You get more levels when you get these exoskeleton armor fights, where you're supposed to...
Is that building rebuilding itself?
No, it actually collapsed. We were on top of it.
It's weird, because it's funny, the way that stuff just pops in is terrible. It looks like the building's rebuilding itself more than you're actually tumbling. Jesus Christ.
Again, even if it's better looking than the Wii version, it's still not that better at the end of the day.
Out of Hulk's way, he's coming through!
Okay, side note, I don't think I've talked about this before, but for the score, the composer, I don't know who he is, I'm gonna check in the meantime, but the score itself is...
Mission complete! We've endangered so many lives!
Like I said, it doesn't help that I think my copy is glitchy, so there's a huge chance that some music cuts away entirely or it's not supposed to be there. But even from the things that I listen, it's not that great, unfortunately.
Banner sighted, Major Talbot. Soften him up with a missile strike.
Yes,
Also,
soften them up with a missile
similar
strike
to-
in the middle of New York City. That won't be a danger to innocents whatsoever.
Similar to Iron Man, let me just briefly mention, there were a couple of old video games in the previous, we have covered two of those, thanks to Pedro, the Genesis Mega Drive version of Incredible Hulk in 1994, and the game based on the sequel to the Ang Lee movie, based in 2003.
Love that objective run.
There were also a game called The Incredible Hulk, the Pantheon Saga for PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and MS-DOS, and then Ultimate Destruction we already mentioned. Unfortunately, this one that we're seeing right now is the last official game solo that Hulk got. The closest we get to him is having appear in other titles like say the Marvel vs. Capcom games, or for the upcoming future, the upcoming Avengers video game.
Oh, and the Lego Marvels game. Oh, but there's also the Lego Marvel games.
But in general, we haven't got a solo Hulk game ever since more than 10 years.
Shame about that.
The missiles are guided by a satellite dish. I've located it.
Okay.
Still waiting on a solo Black Panther video game.
I also love how when Hulk is using the dash, you don't even have to collide with things; we just explode near you sometimes.
The mere
the collision detection for the dash is so weird.
Yeah, the physics are very, very terribly coded.
Again, I get the idea of some enjoyment that there is in destroying things, picking a boulder or a car, tossing it away, destroying a building, stuff like that. But again, that only, at least for me, that only gets me only so far. And even so, there's not much enjoyment in general. Anyway,
I
let me
swear,
check
these buildings must be made out of paper mache, like merely touching them causes destruction.
Oh, found it. Mark Grisky is the composer. He did a lot of stuff for LucasArts, apparently. Weird. Let me check specifically if there is an IMDb page, because the Wikipedia page doesn't tell much. Basically, in this mission, Rick Jones gives you the direction where you're supposed to go in order also to flee on Talbott.
Oh, look, another mission where you have to take out the satellite dishes.
Yeah.
Never seen that
At least you don't
before.
have a timer here.
Also, can I talk about how stupid that move is? So he just stops in midair and just pushes forward like he's Superman. Like, that doesn't make a lick of sense whatsoever. Like, Hulk may have many powers, but breaking the physics is not one of them.
I think it's this one.
So,
Apparently, the last major work that Mark worked on as a composer was an expansion for Star Wars: The Old Republic. But that's pretty much it.
So Tio, gotta wonder, between the Hulk and the government who are raining missiles down on an unsuspecting city,
How
who
fucked
are
up is New York? I don't know, Jova.
who's
Jova, can you
really,
answer that question?
who's really the monster here was the question I was gonna ask, but
Oh,
yeah,
Edge of
that's a good
reality.
question. Yes, Edge of Reality.
Now here's a riddle. I don't know how the lyrics went.
Here is a riddle to see if you can sing the bells of Notre Dame. Who is the monster and who is the man?
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising how those lyrics actually fit the whole franchise very well, actually.
I mean, well, if I recall correctly, there is an actual Marvel villain that is called literally Quasimodo, and it's supposed to be looking like the Hunchback. But no, I mean, Edge of Reality, like I mentioned in the previous part, is at the end of the day kind of was an incompetent studio. But considering this was part of a contract that Sega had with Marvel, if it wasn't for them, they would have hired someone else to do it. Mind you, I can imagine potentially someone would have done a better job because, again, what I haven't played it yet, I still get recommended the fact that the Captain America game is the best of the bunch, and that is done by Next Level Games, a studio that even to this day is showcasing the passion behind developing games. So I can totally believe that.
And there was whichever company made the Wii version of Iron Man, which was good.
Artificial Mind Movement. I already heard that name, but I forgot what specifically we did. Let me check mine as well.
Oh no, we're fighting against the Winter Soldiers' insignia.
They made video games.
Oh, they also got restructured as Behavior Interactive, or that's why.
I
Oh,
thought
that's
that
right.
sounded familiar, yeah.
They're the guys who made stuff like the Looney Tunes video game back on the PS1 era, stuff like Bugs Bunny Lost in Time or Bugs and Taz Time Busters, or the Monsters Inc. Screen Team game. Basically, we did a lot of licensed game back. Honestly, it seems like they have underwhelmed mostly licensed stuff.
I remember Talbot. He was always flirting with Betty when he came by the lab.
Charming. Yeah, in case you don't know, this is taken from the comics. The fact that Talbot is kind of a creep and wants to flirt with Betty even though she's not into him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wasn't he her ex-husband or something in the comics?
At some point in the comics, yes, maybe. It gets to a point, Jova, that one of the major comic of the Hulk that I grew up with, the period where it was Joe Dixit, has this weird as fuck story where, get this, Jova, Nightmare and the Spire, talk about obscurity, decide to essentially pull a giant prank on the Hulk and try to trap him in his dreams along with Betty and, you know, making me sort of drown in despair, stuff like that. But when they get to Betty, the Spire basically calls her for her full name, which includes all her last name. So Betty Ross Talbot Banner. It's so
God. Yeah.
In case you need the minor context, both Nightmare and the Spire are two mystical villains, but are more like Doctor Strange villains, so they had nothing to do with Hulk. It was sort of a part of the whole thing that Marvel was doing around those years called the Acts of Vengeance event, where, whether they liked it or not, villains decided to just swap the roles and say, hey, maybe I have a better chance if I fight your arch nemesis and you fight mine. The thought process was nice and it gave some variety, but it didn't last that much.
Was that the same arc where it was revealed that Betty had this secret daughter with that otherworldly being or whatnot?
No, it was the one where she had an accidental miscarriage.
So those,
and as you can imagine, Marvel treated that in not the best way possible.
These Fury canisters, if you collect all of them, do you get a special message from Samuel L. Jackson?
Unfortunately, no.
You would
Basically,
think
it's
so.
It's a good thing you asked, Libs, because I might as well explain. The canisters that you find around the map are basically power-ups. The green ones extend your health bar, the Fury ones extend your Fury bar, the red one. So basically, you gotta collect them all. The problem is that you're not really required to get all of them. I managed to get through the game by collecting only a extreme minimal part of them. So, sorry, and even so, the game doesn't really give you that much indication, aside from the fact that when you get close to one of them, not in the radar, but in game, you start hearing a beeping sound like toon toon toon. So that's supposedly your clue, but you don't have like a GPS indicator or stuff like that. So basically, you have the worst part of a modern open world game: the fact that there's a lot of shit to collect, and not even the option to turn on a magical GPS to help in this case.
I thought for a second we were gonna do the Imperial March.
No.
But then you
Basically,
stopped
right
and it's like,
for
oh,
this
yeah, I'll do
mission,
that
as you
this
can
week,
see, I needed to get the media choppers near a Talbott base to showcase how much of a you go.
Wow, so Hulk's smart enough to lure the media here to expose the government.
Jova, you have no idea. It's not in this part, but later on, believe it or not, we're gonna have a stealth mission.
As the Hulk?
A stealth mission with the Hulk.
You think they would do it like in the 2003 game where Bruce Banner is on panels the stealth? That would
No.
make more sense.
So,
It's just...
Stealth? I mean, the stealth in the 2003 game wasn't good per se, but at the very least, it was a good idea.
Basically, it's a trend copying thing because it's structured the same way those missions. I think even Spider-Man PS4 has it, but they're now very refined more. Now, around this time, the two major open world superhero games were Infamous and Prototype, and both of them had this kind of mission where your character, is stealth-wise, has to stay on the roof and has to follow like a courier that has to move from point A to point B, and you need to stay on the roof to spy him, but just distant to not be spotted. It's annoying, and imagine doing something like this with this Hulk. Yeah.
I love how every time the mission, there's a little fraction of a second where the screen goes black for no reason.
Yeah, that's because the game has a weird loading mechanic.
okay, who took a picture of Rick with the Hulk?
I don't know. It's reminiscent of Sonic 06. It basically has a black screen for a cutscene, and then one after the mission is completed. Something stuff like that.
Follow Talbot
Anyway,
to his secret
actually,
base.
I think it's this mission that I need. Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
No.
basically I need to stay on the roof and spot and follow Talbot's chopper. I forgot that he was in this part still.
Of course, with the fitting
Still.
music. For stealth, of course!
And since it's one mission where I need to follow the target, of course it's slow as molasses, because the target moves so fucking slow and I need to just stay behind and while avoiding other enemies' gunfire. This is so painful.
So let me get this straight. Not only does the Hulk have to do stealth, but somehow Talbot is never warned by any of his forces who are attacking us. Hey Talbot, the Hulk's on your six.
Also, how the hell is the Hulk supposed to stealth around from an helicopter? That doesn't make any sense.
But he's doing it somehow. Somehow we're here at this point in our lives.
It's a video game, Pedro, I think.
It's a bad video game.
Yeah, a really bad, boring.
How did he
game.
not see you during that point? You were right next to him.
Excuse me, sir. I hear a lot of banging and flying around behind.
You'll see nothing. Hulk's
You see,
tank is very
you see, Jova, what happened is the helicopter driver was giving out a tweet when that happened, so he missed it.
How did you not see that guy flying by you?
I am at the base.
Oh my
You
god.
don't tweet and fly.
And now that I'm at the base, I need to destroy everything. The problem is that the tanks, for some reason, are invulnerable unless I hit them with an object. So basically, just like in the movies, the Hulk fist alone are not enough to punch, a tank. But if I carry a piece of metal, like a stick, it's enough to damage it. What's the logic behind it?
Okay, to be fair, in the
I can answer that.
Again,
Yes.
even the movie had this weird thing where the whole punches were not strong enough, but when he had some kind of weapon, he was stronger
It's
like
as
that.
bad as the one would get in that Alone in the Dark thing where shooting him and,
Hold on.
knocking
What
him around
building
and
is this?
going around.
Hold on, let me check what building this is. I forgot. What is this?
Or what was it once? Lincoln
The
Center.
Lincoln Center. Sorry, Joe. I guess we destroyed the Lincoln Center.
Dang.
Don't worry,
At,
don't worry.
at least we can prevent the Planet of the Apes 2001. I
The
guess.
Marvel, don't worry. The builders in the Marvel universe are very efficient. They'll probably bend it within like a week.
Anyway, as I was saying, at least in the movie, the reason Hulk had to use that broken up police car was because Abomination was him but stronger, so he needed a little extra dent to the punch. And I think that was the only time he needed those metal
You
things.
said it.
Did he now?
Basically, oh god, the frame rate.
Ah.
Okay, we'll say this. Unlike in Iron Man, the cutscenes here are not FMV, but are actually like in-game.
I forgot.
So
What did he
basically, you
say?
get this. Hold on. Talbot as Rick Jones as an hostage. So basically, if the Hulk supposedly does something, he will shoot him. The problem is that, look at this. I'm literally doing just fine and we're doing nothing with it.
So hang on, didn't he?
Hold on, give me a second. And now I'm just gonna go pick him up and we're gonna be
He's
fine.
not even surrounded
Oop.
by anyone.
There we go. What is
So-
this game?
Didn't he just announce on the microphone Hulk's true identity to the whole world? He said how bad it.
I don't know
I'd
what to
li-
tell you.
I'd like to
Hardly.
point out that that bus that passed by earlier, that bus was clearly going on top of the sidewalk. You can't do that.
You were saying, Jova?
You could have killed people with that, you know.
Also, Talbot is very trigger happy, even in Reveal's mission, but even now his reasoning is just throw everything.
Yeah. Also, don't worry about any of that blowback or debris, Rick. You're absolutely fine on the Hulk spec.
Basically, the idea is that we're supposed to find one of Rick's safe havens here. The problem is that, this translates into.
Oh
Rick
shoot,
saying
we got
every time-
discovered.
Yeah, that's the thing. Basically, it's the game excuse in telling you that you're supposed to jump from point A to B to C to D until the game decides it's enough.
Padding.
Stupid.
It's
Yes.
not. It feels a lot like the driver AI of the GTA 3 or GTA Vice City. The difference is that those were PS2 games. This is a PS3 game. You'd expect the AI to be better by this point.
Anyway.
Considering this was
even then,
released,
and even then, those games had still better AI than this.
Anyway,
But-
so as I was saying, so what
yeah,
was
go on.
Talbot's plan exactly? Hold Rick Jones hostage, thinking that the Hulk wouldn't do anything, even though the Hulk pretty much is known to not give a crap about that sort of
not
stuff.
even that. When the actual gameplay resumed, the actual resistance that Talbot put while having Rick Jones as an hostage was non-existent.
Yeah, it's like I
Very
said,
little.
they weren't even there when we rescued Rick. Rick was just standing there on his own. It's a reality. What have you done?
Actually, saving Rick Jones will be very easy, very
Well,
inconvenient.
there are
Yeah.
certain incarnations where the Hulk
Oh,
does
really?
like. There are certain incarnations where the Hulk does like Rick as well. It's
Oh
not
no
just
no no no
better
no no
like
no no
that.
no! I get that, but their mentality was, oh, if we hold him hostage, Hulk will do nothing. When has that ever worked?
I mean, okay, I will say this: the military in the Hulk story have been consistently being stupid. So to some degree, I can understand some degree of
Oh,
stupidity.
Rick
The
destroyed
problem
his
is that
tracking device. How did he do that from that corner in the wall?
I don't know, Jova. I don't know.
Well, I guess we can give it credit.
This game is so unfinished.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can give it credit that there's more destruction in this open world than in Crackdown 3. Oh!
Is that even a
That's
victory at
sad.
this point?
Well, I guess this game will have to take it. That's the only one it's got.
So, Pedro, what did you think of Crackdown 3?
I haven't played Crackdown 3. I can play it if I want to, but I don't really want to.
Surely you've heard about the reception to the game that everyone was waiting years and years to play. Also,
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You know, the
Don't
Can you
worry,
feel
Jova. Don't worry, Jova. I'm sure Halo Infinite will be the bee's knees.
that's an interesting thing. You know, the worst PS4 exclusive, you know, the Order 1886, can at least claim it was a.
How even that game has a cult fan base.
Honestly, I'm not sure what could be worse waves between Order 86 and NAC at this point. And I mean, first game NAC. The
yeah,
second,
I actually prefer Order 1886 over NAC.
at worst waves. Okay, I will say that the NAC 2 at worst has some playable capacity. You can get some minor degree of enjoyment from it. But the first NAC, not so much. Order 1886 has the problem of being an unfinished product that focuses too much on its graphics than anything.
like,
For me, it's just
it's hard to even call Order 1886 a game.
For me, it's just when 86 is over faster, whereas NAC goes on and on and on and on.
I think the problem is like Order 1886 represents Sony at their worst when they're trying to make their games like a movie. By literally making it a movie, except it's not even a good movie because the story sucks as well.
The most
I'm
big
surprised
glaring
Sony
problem of
Pictures
Order
didn't-
1886 is the fact that it's boring.
I'm surprised Sony Pictures didn't release the game, not Sony Interactive Entertainment.
No, that's the thing though. Like, even those games can, at the very extent that they do have their small fan bases. They're small, but their fan bases still. Nobody gives a crap about Crackdown 3.
Oh man,
There we go.
There are so many reasons for that, but that's probably a list best saved for when we actually commentate on Crackdown 3.
Spontaneously decided to crash into the building.
Okay, no, like you're making no, like.
Oh my god! They literally wait, guys, the tax the
I think the game's falling apart.
the taxi just destroyed the building.
The joke is like, don't do that.
No! That's the thing, Hulk didn't even do that. The taxi did it by driving into the building.
What is that building made of, or what is that taxi made of?
I mean, Jova, Jesus Christ, did the New York founders constructed the city with paper?
I mean, I have to
I
wonder.
take taxis to work every day. They don't fucking
I
do
mean,
that.
okay, guys, it's official. Hulk is not the real menace here. Everyone is the menace here. Like, seriously, the government rains down missiles on the city, and then the random citizens can just drive their superpowered taxis into a building, causing it to collapse.
Screw the Hulk. Can we play the Can we play as the taxi?
In the meantime, the Evil console is going just as planned.
Oh,
Totally.
guys, I got it.
Well,
Hey,
well
Sid,
also,
guys, hang on,
this is a Sega game. Technically speaking,
Yeah,
it's a
Sega
Sega
game.
published game, so maybe it's
Crazy
Crazy
Taxi.
Taxi free,
Yeah,
unofficially.
this is
So it's Crazy Taxi
but they
Free
wrap up
starring the
violence.
Hulk.
Yes.
And you ramp up the violence where, you know, you could get those bonuses you get, like crazy through and crazy jump? And this one you could get crazy building destruction or something.
Never mind.
And
I
meanwhile-
take it back. I
Wow.
take it back. Like no, for as quirky as it can be sometimes, no. The vehicle programming AI in GTA 3 and Vice City is fucking masterful compared to this. Jesus Christ.
Okay. So, guys,
Anyways.
here's how it goes. The evil society is going just as planned, and then a taxi accidentally drives into the building just as planned. Oh shit! The building's collapsing!
No, don't you see? This was also part of the plan somehow. You just didn't know.
For us to
Anyway-
die.
Anyway, see you for the next part for another storyline.
See ya.
everybody.